service to the firm. George has been a great help to me over the last couple of years. He actually made a couple of predictions about equities, and made a couple of predictions about me individually, some of which go back to times when George and I, we used to work out across the street before I decided I couldn't afford it anymore. But we used to work out at this place, and we'd be there at 5:30 in the morning. It's directly across the park, and I actually quit because too many times I'd show up at 5:30 and my trainer wouldn't be there, and it's like, don't do it. But he was the guy who was usually on the elliptical next to me, and that was where I got some of the first kernels of equity strategy. But I think not everybody knows his history. George started at the firm around the same time I did, almost 29 years ago. He started at a much more senior level than I did, because my job at the time was mostly about making copies at 4 a.m. and making sure that books showed up for the meetings that other people attended and I only heard about. But George, if you look at his long history in the equity department, the equity department at Credit Suisse, if you look at it, late 80s to early 90s, was a business that historically did not make a lot of money, and it was one that did not perform that well with clients. And we started in the mid-90s a run that ultimately culminated with the leadership position that we have in the business today. And George was really the architect. There were a lot of other people involved, some guy named Brady Dugan, some guy named Tony Inger, great assist from a lot of people along the way. But George was the guy who was one of the key architects of really the whole client strategy that got us into the position that we still enjoy today. And so I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to George for his leadership for a long period of time at the firm and helping create a franchise that, if anybody happened to watch this little strategy announcement we had last week, that the business that Tidjane really started with his discussion of the investment bank on was the equities business, because of its strategic importance to global Credit Suisse and because of the position that it occupies in the marketplace today. And I think we owe a lot of that to George. I guess I'll also just give a special thanks. Obviously, as many of you in the room know, when I came into the equities business full-time about 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, I knew very little about the equities business. I knew many of you, I knew George, I knew a lot of the key people in the business at the leadership level, but I knew very little about the business. And George has been a great confidant, supporter, friend to me, as he has been to many of you over the last couple of years where I frankly needed the help. And I will miss having his guidance, being able to rely on him when I needed to steer on something where I'm getting lots of conflicting information, and I know any question that I'm getting, he's probably answered 73 other times in his career in equities. So George, thank you for all that you've done. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
So it's really special to be able to kind of like have a drink with all of you and have your kind remarks from like Tim, and I was watching Tidjane on the video conference, and what struck me was when he talked about we as humans need and like to grow. And when I think about my career and everyone, Tommy, Jerry, Tim, all of us who've been here 20 plus years are always asked by the interns, like, how did it happen when you were 15 years here, when you were 20 years here, when you were 25 years here? It's the most common question I think you get asked, and my answer has always been that people have given me challenges at the right times. So whether it's when you're a sales guy and you're young and they give you the next big account to take on, or you get lucky, Brady Dugan becomes the head of equities and you're part of helping them build it, or you get lucky that Bobby Jane is smart enough to invent these algos and say, let's give them to our clients, and say, hey, I'll never forget this, having dinner with Bobby, Brady, and Mike Clark, and Bobby's explaining the algos to us, and we finished the whole dinner, and Brady says, yeah, we're going to go all in on this, George, you're in charge of figuring out how we're going to market it. And I'm like, I'm like, you know, excuse me, what the heck are these out? I mean, like, you know, so I'm down in Bobby's office the next morning. I go, okay, now you got to give me the Braille version of this. But there was nothing.
You still have that? I could use it.
but my point is it like, you know, you know, we were building and we were growing, and it was fun, you know. And I have to thank, you know, all those people mentioned by Tim who gave me those opportunities and those challenges, you know. And then in the last, you know, 4 years as I've done this vice chairman thing, which is a great job. I highly recommend you get one. Highly recommend it.
Can I sign up now?
No,
There's other stuff for
4 more years. 4 more years. But I have to personally thank you, Tim, and you have been, you know, you've been supportive of me and allowing me to, you know, work at the pace I wanted to work at and have the impact that I wanted to, and all these human capital things that I've worked on, and, you know, working on MDEC with Jerry and others, and it's just been special, and, you know, it's just been really, really special. And so thank you, because all of you in the equity department made me succeed. Like, without you succeeding, I could never succeed. I mean, like, Salim, I've known you since the day you were, like, you know, 2 years old coming out of college. So, and now you're the head of the No, but it's really fun when you have the benefit of being around for 29 years, that you see people come right out of college and you see them get the challenges and you see them grow, and then you see them become managing directors, and, you know, it's special. And so you're all special, and I think that you are being in great hands with Tim and Tijan, because, you know, when he Chip, you know, we're going to get our mojo. We're going to get our mojo, and if anyone listens to Tijan and doesn't feel like that we're getting resources to invest in the business, then you're not paying attention. You know, so I think it's a real exciting time for all of you. And if you're in Deer Valley, I'll show you some special places where nobody goes and there's plenty of snow, like the tree. All right, thank you. Thank you.